Did y'all see the editorial? Is it USA Today? I'm pulling it up. I have it up, actually. I have 1,011,000 windows up. Why? I have a 4.5-foot wide screen. Why? I don't know if you saw it, but they had this story. Editorial by Hunter Biden. I first saw it from Tater. Or, sorry, Brian. This is mean of me. Potato. Brian Stelter. Hunter Biden said, quote, "What troubles me is the demonization of addiction, of human frailty, using me as its avatar, and the devastating consequences it has for the millions struggling with addiction, desperate for a way out, being bombarded by the denigrating and near constant coverage of me and my addiction on Fox News. Because, see, everybody but Hunter Biden should have consequences, except for him. Everyone but him should have consequences for lying on a 4473. Oh my gosh. Don't you dare talk about Hunter Biden enriching himself off the CCP at the expense of national security, engaging in human trafficking, violating gun laws, violating the FARA Act. You're demonizing his coke addiction. How darest thou? This is the oh my gosh. He literally, this published today. This, oh my gosh, the headline. Kane, I need something. I need a stress doll, the one where its eyes bulge out. Note to self, stress doll. Hunter Biden, I fought to get sober. Political weaponization of my addiction hurts more than me. He wrote that. My struggles and my mistakes have been fodder for a violence sustained. He's mad about the criticisms against his family. This is, listen, no, let me read it to you. Today in Hunter Biden, this is like my grandma's afternoon stories. So he writes this. Over 4 years ago, I chose a life over the slow, strangled death grip of addiction, which in my case consisted of each day of a bottle of vodka and as many hits on a crack pipe as possible. I'm prouder of that choice and of my recovery than anything I've done. My family. Oh, and then he gets into my struggles and my mistakes have been fodder for a violent, sustained disinformation campaign against my father and an all-out annihilation of my reputation through high-pitched but fruitless congressional investigations. Well, they're still ongoing there, champ. And more recently, criminal charges for possessing an unloaded gun for 11 days 5 years ago. Charges that appear to be the first ever of their kind brought in the history of Delaware. But he says you're denigrating addiction. You're demonizing addiction and human frailty by using me as its avatar. That's what he's writing here. I can't, first off, can I just go back to the one? I mean, he only, as a drug addict, illegally possessed a gun for 11 days. I mean, only. What did he do with that gun? Probably blew cocaine off it. I don't know.
Oh, I thought he got
snorted cocaine off it. What?
I thought he got rid of it.
Oh, yeah. His sister-in-law lover threw it in a trash can across the street from an elementary school. Golly. He is saying that you can't criticize him because my crimes that I committed are the same thing as the addiction. If you denigrate me, you're denigrating addiction. That is the worst logic ever. Do you know why it's the worst logic ever? Because he's exploiting addiction to dodge accountability for his crimes. I've known addicts. I've had addicts in my family. Not all addicts sell out their country to the Communist Chinese Party to enrich themselves. And not all criminals are addicts. He chose to do that. And now he's going to try to say that you can't hold him accountable or criticize him for it because of his addiction. I wouldn't be surprised if his logic is maybe I should try to avoid more accountability by keep doing the drugs. That way, I'm an addict. You're denigrating my addiction. Instead of in the past tense, make it current. I mean, I've heard some stuff before. Isn't that like one of the first steps of recovery is to accept responsibility for the actions you choose to make? I mean, it seemed like, and someone else made this point, he didn't really show any interest in getting sober until the fit, as they would say, hit the shan. Right? You can't talk about how he violated the Foreign Agents Registration Act. His addiction, though. You can't talk about him being illegally in possession of a firearm. He only had it for 11 days. 5 years ago. I mean, come on. Meh. Jiminy Christmas. I am pretty amazed. He actually wrote this whole entire editorial about that. But he just admitted to a crime. He admitted to all these crimes in the city. What a stupid moron. I mean, goodness. And then he tried to get into his mom's suicide. What? I thought she was, what? I guess she ran on purpose with her kids in the car in front of a oncoming truck. Interesting. Because, see, remember how Joe Biden went around and was saying that his wife was killed by a drunk driver and the guy wasn't drunk at all? His wife just didn't stop at a stop sign? Huh. He gets mad and says that people posted altered nude photos of him. What, was he good looking before? Did they just make them ugly? Like, I don't understand. Like, what? Did they Photoshop clothes off of him? That all came off his laptop. The FBI confirmed it was his. Oh my gosh, he hits everything. He hits about his brother. He goes into everything. Like, all of these things are why you should not hold me accountable for any of the crimes that I chose to commit. Because of the drugs. That's why. I think what he's doing actually sets back addiction and people who are trying to deal with addiction. That's what he's doing, because he's saying that you can do whatever you want. If you're an addict, you got to get out of jail free card. There's no expectation of accountability. And recovery starts with that. I think him using addiction as a get out of jail free card sets that recovery back for everybody else. And it makes everybody else look suspect. Like I said, I've known addicts. I've had addicts in my family. Not every criminal is an addict. And not every addict goes out and sells out national security or does the crazy stuff that he did, engages in human trafficking, does all these things. Not every addict does that. He is just a privileged, aging brat who thinks that he is still in his 20s and that he can do whatever he wants because daddy's the president. Hunter Biden is a privileged white trash brat in an almost 60-year-old's body. It is insane that he is coddled and treated like a child in this manner. I mean, obviously the whole family has issues because the whole family, from Joe to, honestly, I think Jill has issues too. I mean, how do you have all of these kids that come from the same family and two different women and they're all messed up? They all have issues. They all are addicted to drugs or they have daddy issues or something. Like, maybe be parents. It felt like Joe and Jill were chasing, political dreams instead of raising their damn kids. And now look at it. That's just shameful. Absolutely shameful. And then it's like they I don't know. They should have spent more time with their kids. I don't know. Just makes me angry. And there are a lot of you out there who are listening who are like, you know what? I'm sober this many years and I would have never done this. Because what he's doing is like he's impugning the character of everybody. And I also think he calls into question reconciliation by refusing any kind of accountability or even acknowledging his culpability in this. He acts like everybody invented these crimes and assigned them to him. You did this yourself. And you know what? according to everything that has ever been written about him, this dude had issues before he was even on drugs. He was a spoiled little brat. Like, the only reason that apparently, I think that, I don't know if he's privileged. I don't think because his parents cared. I think he's privileged because they had to keep up appearances. And there's a big difference.